What's up, guys? Welcome to the Born and Great podcast. I am Anthony Rudolph, and my co-host here, Mrs.
Elle Jones. What's good?
What's up, guys? So welcome to the podcast. So we are a podcast. We focus on creating and living life that you want. And as my co-host always says, don't put us in a box because we were born to create, and so are you. So today I'm excited about this episode. It's one that I think I said about everyone, I think. But anyway,
it's always,
I'm excited.
But that's good though.
It's always good, right? It's always good. So today I want to talk about building an audience, right? Audience building. I heard something interesting about a year ago.
Okay.
I heard that the cheat code to building a business is consistency. But then I heard recently that the cheat code is audience, right? Because your audience is what pays you. Right, your audience is what builds your brand and gives you more authority, gives you more reputation in the industry. Right.
Yep.
So as a storyteller on your end, let's dive in and talk about the importance of building an audience. Right. Okay. So to you, why is the audience so important in building a brand, a business, and being an authority figure?
Well, you hit it on the head. Your audience, your community is the lifeline to your business, your brand, to your success. It's one of the reasons why I take challenge with people saying that they're self-made.
You take challenge with that?
I do.
Okay.
And here's why. And I've been really vocal about it. I get the idea behind it, and that like if you had to build your business from the ground up, use your own money, you didn't get funding or support, from anyone, and you did it. I get the idea that you somehow believe you are self-made.
Right.
But the reality is, even if that's the case, you don't have a successful brand or business if you don't have a community or audience or customers who are buying into what you create.
True.
So you could be the dopest creator with the dopest products, but if you don't have a community or an audience that's buying into what you've created, you don't have sales. Therefore, you're not self-anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my thought process behind it. But it's super duper important to build an audience, and that's just scratching the surface. I think the deeper opportunity here is how do you go beyond, you build the audience, but now you want to build and nurture community, because that's where everything else that we're talking about takes place.
So what is an audience? I mean, I know it sounds simple, but what exactly is an audience when it comes to a business? What is an audience?
An audience, simply put, is a group of people whose attention you have.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
Community, now that's something else. That's when people buy into who you are, what your story is, what your messaging is, what you're creating. They feel a part of a family. So if you think about when you get married, you marry your spouse. Just because you marry them, yes, legally you're now a part of one another's families, but there still has to be a period of time where you start to build relationship with those family members. So you can be, I'm my mother-in-law's daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
Now, legally on paper, it could just be that.
Right.
But I'm fortunate enough to have my own relationship with her, but it didn't start out that way. Yeah. Like, we had to build towards that. And that just requires spending time together, listening to one another, creating spaces for one another. And so we can take those same ideas or thought processes and apply it to creating an audience. But then how do you take a group of people from being your audience members to actual community?
Right. So it's like it says building a tribe.
Yeah.
Right. So you can have people outside looking in, but the ones who are your tribe are the ones that's going to help you get to where you want to go. And in marketing, they say that you need just 1,000 raving fans, and you're pretty much set. Right. So it's like getting to that 1,000. So when I first started in business, I really didn't think the audience was that important. Right?
Really?
Yeah. Because I didn't know.
What I'm curious, what was your priority or thought process then? Like, what was the priority for you?
Build it and they will come.
Got you.
Right. Okay. So if I build this amazing, well, maybe it's because I started off in real estate. Right. Because so I didn't have to build an audience.
Right. Because everybody.
Exactly. So, I mean, I can just go and buy a house and fix it and flip it and I was done. And I thought that I could take that same approach to when I started entering the creator economy,
Okay.
right? But I was running into roadblocks. I was banging my head against the wall because one, I didn't know how valuable it was, because I thought that each business transferred to one another, which they don't, right? There are different tactics, different strategies that you got to use. So in doing that, I found myself being very, very frustrated because I wasn't getting the result that I wanted, because I was taking my real estate tactics and put them into my creator tactics or my marketing. Right. But until I learned that audience is very important, I got stuck. So, and I know a lot of people are stuck because they think that, well, I can build a product, I can build a course, I can sell this widget, and because it's out there, because I post about it, I'm going to make sales. And how often does that happen?
Not often at all. And I think part of the challenge with that as entrepreneurs and creators is that we'll see someone else do it.
Yeah.
And then think that that's an easily replicatable thing for us to do, when the reality is we don't always see the behind the scenes, like someone else's
Very
process
rare, yeah.
on what it took for them to be able to get there. Like, there was a point in time in Beyonce's career where she still had to have, you know, marketing and PR and all of that, but she has built her brand in a way that she literally could just drop a picture.
Right.
Which she recently did, right? She posted a picture of some like beauty products in containers on like her dresser or whatever. And I can't remember if she was actually in the photo or not.
Yeah.
And with this particular post, she did write a little bit of a caption about, you all know my upbringing, growing up in the salon with my mother and my aunts and cousins. So now she's already started priming her audience for what she's going to drop, which even though she hasn't confirmed it, everybody believes, oh, Beyonce's coming out with some hair care stuff, some beauty stuff. It would make sense for her. So that's an instance where build it and they'll come applies.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always that way for her. Like, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear, like, once you got that aha moment of, okay, I can't do this as a creator the same way that I did as a real estate professional, what was like some of those key things that you started doing? Or did you feel, because you experienced the frustration, but then like what was the next step for you? Because I think it's important for our listeners and viewers to find themselves in the story.
Right. Great question. But first I want to back up a little bit.
Okay.
And because you mentioned Beyonce and I want to mention Rihanna. Right.
Yeah.
So this is the importance of audience, right? Of people knowing who you are and what you represent.
Yep.
Now, if you don't know, now you know that is that really all of the performers on Super Bowl don't get paid, right?
Exactly.
Don't get paid. So actually they pay for
Say that
their,
one more time, because I think some people miss that.
yeah, all of the performers on Super Bowl do not get paid.
So you
right?
can't go on somebody else's platform and not get paid, but it's got to make sense.
Exactly, that makes sense. So in fact, I believe that they pay for everything, right? So there was a point when Rihanna was singing and she popped out a makeup compact and she started putting it on her face.
Her
right?
Fenty highlighter.
Right.
I own a couple.
Right. So I believe within that day or that week, she made like $5 million in sales based off that one flip, right? Based off her putting her makeup on the Super Bowl. So that's audience, right? That's influence. Is that when you at that point, if you build it, they will come. But before then, you have to really nurture and cultivate your audience. Now, your question,
which she did. Even, but I'm saying even specific to the Super Bowl, they had a whole rollout that people weren't necessarily talking about unless you were already a customer and on her list. But she had a brilliant marketing strategy. And as soon as her performance was over, boom,
sales.
They released it because they didn't even have it on the website.
Oh, really?
At
I didn't
first.
know that. Okay.
Yeah, so there was
Okay.
a whole process to that build it if they'll
Yeah.
come. But she also understands the importance of nurturing her community. So as big of a superstar as she is, she still does a lot in terms of marketing to make her audience / community feel very much a part of the Fenty brand.
Right.
Yeah.
Ask me your question again.
What was your aha moment when you realized, like once you had that aha moment of, I can't do this, I can't attract the people to what I'm doing or creating in the same way that I did in the real estate umbrella. What was your first thought? Like, did you feel overwhelmed? Because you're a creator.
Right.
You've always been.
Right.
So I'm curious to hear what that process was like for you, to where you went from the aha moment to, okay, actually starting to implement some of those things to focus on audience building.
Yeah. So my aha moment came when I was making zero money. Right. I think that's most.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. Right. So I was in real estate and the market crashed, as you know, because your husband's in real estate as well. The market crashed. So I had to pivot and adjust. And okay, you know what? I'm going to go back to what I love.
Yeah.
And that was creating. But not knowing when I was first creating, I was operating as a creator and not a business person. Right. So I would create something, but not know how to make money off of that.
That's very common.
So I went back. You know what? I love creating. I love the arts. I love film. I love video. So I'm gonna go back to that. But I'm gonna figure out a way where I can figure out how to make money off this now. So my aha moment came from real estate, I went into drop shipping. Right. So I found a product from China, put it on a website, and sold it. So I'm like, you know what? I know that this guy is selling this course for $1,000. I'm not about to buy that course. I'm a businessman. I know what I'm doing, right? So I'm gonna just take this product, put it on my site, put a picture on Facebook, and I'm gonna sell it. Put the picture on Facebook, nothing sold organically. Nothing sold. Oh, got likes and smiley faces, but no money. The next week, I'm like, you know what? This is just not working. So how can I make it work? So I went back and I purchased the course. So the course taught me how to do marketing, how to do Facebook marketing. So how to take your product, put it in front of people who actually want it, and then they will buy.
Yeah.
So my aha moment came when I had no money, but then when I learned, hey, you know what, because in real estate you really don't have to market. I mean, you just go on a website, find a property, make a phone call, set up a mailer, and you're done. It's that simple.
Yeah.
But going into online marketing is a whole different beast. Right? Building audiences is a whole different beast. And then I learned the 10-80-10 rule, right? So like at any point, 10% of people are ready to buy your product, right? 80% are thinking about it, right? 10% will never buy.
Okay.
But most people build their business off the 10%.
On the front end.
Okay. So they're not building an audience. They just push your product, right? And they build everything off 10%. But what about if you had that 10% that bought, which is great, but then the 80% are people who are on the fence. Well, I'm not sure. It may work. I may buy. What have you spent time cultivating and talking to the audience?
The 80%.
80% every single day. How much more would your audience be? How much more would your business grow? And how much more income would you have? Would you have for yourself and for your family?
Yeah.
So I had to learn that cultivating. I had to learn that I had to be less tactical. Buy now, and more strategic, right? Let me talk to these people. Let me give them value. And a person that saw my product today, they may buy next month, may buy in 2 months, may buy in 6 months. But the fact that I've been building an audience for that time will give me more of opportunity to make more capital and talk to people and be more of a value. If
that's
that makes
where
sense.
Storytelling comes in, really, essentially, is because I don't care what, fight me, cancel me, whatever. I don't care what the sales gurus say about how to build 6, 7, 8-figure businesses, and they teach this. This is a very real thing, like the bro culture marketing, right? Like the bro marketing culture.
Okay.
It's the bro marketing culture, which there are some women who subscribe to that, and that's essentially tapping into your masculine and how to sell. And I get that, like, sales are, your audience is the nucleus of your business. It should be. It's not even so much about the product or the service that you have, but the sales is the thing that's going to keep the business afloat, right? So I understand that you need to have sales, but people don't like to be sold to.
Right.
They want to be presented with solutions and options for something. And then when you spend the time to cultivate the audience and convert them into community first, like people talk about conversions and it's like how to convert your audience into cash. Well, you just missed a whole other step before you get to that part. And that's the community building piece. And where I see a lot of folks missing it is even on podcasting or you have shows, this is not an opportunity for us to get on here and say, I, me all the time.
Right.
We can use our experiences and ourselves and our stories as examples to paint a picture, but it should never be. There's a lot of ego in I, me. So I think that you would do better to build and operate your business in a way, think like a media brand.
Okay.
And here's why I say that. Think about Sports Illustrated, CNN, Good Morning America, right? These are all major media brands. How often do you see them creating content that's centered around what they do and sell?
Not much.
Right? Their focus is on the audience.
Yeah. What was that?
Oops. My phone.
Oh, okay.
Did you think we was having an earthquake or something like that? Yeah, it just slipped on out there.
All right.
But their focus is on their audience's needs and providing value to their audience, which are now community members. So you have people that there's a reason why there are people who are faithful to Good Morning America over the Today Show and vice versa. There's a reason why people are more faithful to Fox News than CNN and vice versa, or people who prefer Essence over Ebony, or everybody has a competitor, right? But those brands and businesses, they are not focused on, when they're creating content and delivering value to their audience and community, it's not about the actual thing that they do.
Yeah.
It's about it's not about even taking what you do and focusing on that. It's listening to and creating solutions for what they need.
Like that.
And then you leverage what you have, i.e., a new segment, a podcast, a show, a ebook, a course, a community, whatever it is, to provide further value and continue to deepen the connection within your community. So then that build it and they will come piece becomes more viable for you. As opposed to always, this is what I have, this is what I offer, and this is why you should buy it, or this is why you should be a part of it, or this is why you should come to the event that I'm hosting. Because it's all about ego. It's I, me, we. But if you shift the focus and think like these major media brands and create a platform that allows people's voices to be heard and create a space for them to feel valued and seen, then we're getting somewhere.
Right. I had a light bulb moment the other day, right? And it goes along with what you're saying about building a media brand, right? Having value, people having preference. A couple of my favorite shows are Ghost, Power, the spinoff.
Yep.
I like.
Bro, have you seen the latest episode?
I watched it last night.
The last one, episode 10?
10 last night. It's out.
Oh, I'm watching it tonight. I had to save it for
so
tonight.
Let me tell you.
No, you better not.
Let me tell you. So you have your favorite shows, right? And these people like 50 Cent, they spend time building their brand, building their audience, because now he has an audience of people who's a power universe, right? Yeah. So imagine if you are, I think Power comes on, what's today? It's Friday. It comes on Thursdays, right? Come on Thursdays.
No, Friday.
Fridays?
At
Thursdays?
midnight, it drops.
Okay, cool. So every single Friday, you watch this episode, this series, right? Say next Friday it didn't come on. How would you feel? Like, what's going on? I mean, I gave you all my time, my energy, and now it's not coming on. So that made me think, like, if we're building a brand, or say we're building a podcast, and we have a release every whatever Tuesday or Thursday or Friday, and we've built this audience of people who love us, know us, and trust us, and one day we didn't release, right? I think that's irresponsible in a sense, because you're not giving your fans or your audience or your tribe what they want. right? Because so it's like if you commit to building an audience and they give you their energy, their time, even their money, you have to keep putting out that content when you promise to put it out. Right. So if Power didn't come on for 3 Fridays in a row, I would be upset because, I'm giving you my time and my energy. So I believe that you have to honor your audience by sticking to your schedule. And that's something that I had to learn too as well. Right. Because it's really not about if you feel like it, if you want to. It's about what are you promising the people who are, in a sense, rocking with you, or people who are giving you their time. They're expecting something from you because they can easily go somewhere else, right? They can easily watch a different show. And I was also told that if I buy a product from you, right? Say the product is $1,000, right? I buy it, and your product gets me to a certain point, and I'm going to go buy a higher priced product from someone who's not as smart as you because you didn't spend time with me. After I gave you money, you were gone. Yep. But now I'm still in a sense where, I need support. I need help. I need guidance. But because I haven't heard from Elle, I've got no emails, no phone calls, no text messages, but I'm still in need of some more support. So now I'm going, okay, you know what? I'm going to go buy from someone else, pay them more money because I didn't feel supported by you, right? Yeah. That makes sense?
Absolutely. I think it all comes down to communication, and it's the irony of this part of the conversation is the very thing that you just brought up about, making sure that you're consistent and building that trust with your audience and how you distribute your content was actually one of the key points that I had. But I love that you used the Power universe as an example, and especially with Power, the Book of Ghost, which is the one that's currently out. So here's the reality, because I know there's some creators that are probably like us, like you can love what you do, but there is a such thing, you can get burnt out even when you're doing the thing that you love to do, if you don't have structure, if you don't have systems and processes and a plan and strategy in place. So with Power, the Book of Ghosts, just like what's G-Force is the one with Tommy, that's the spin-off, okay, right? So, or even a 50 Cent's other show, BMF, which is a huge, culture show for the culture, is they have seasons.
Yeah.
So even if you're not podcasting or creating a show, even if you're a content creator who is distributing content online by way of social media, you still need to think, again, like a media brand. You have to have these episodes. Even with Good Morning America, they don't necessarily have seasons. It's a roll on. You have to determine what's the structure that fits the best for your brand, your message, your audience. But even with Power, the Book of Ghosts, we're on the last episode, right? But they have something, it's already lined up where G-Force is coming. So it was very smart of them to bring Tommy in on one of the last episodes going into the season finale for this show. Because why? His show is now coming on right after that. So it's a pivot in the storytelling, but there's that connection because it's still a part of the brand. So when you're creating, you've got to think about how you're creating. So we've moved to a seasonal format, right? But that allows us more creative freedom to do some other things that will continue that continuity with our audience, so they don't feel like, oh, the podcast is, they're on hiatus or they're in between seasons. Now our audience feels like they're just left hanging in the cold. That's not the case, because we've created something else for them to be a part of and continue those conversations and that relationship. So I think it's important to add that context to it. The other thing is, there are shows, like I have been waiting for Run the World to come back on, and that's on Stars as well.
Okay.
So Brescia Webb is a part of the cast, and they came out the first season, and it was a phenomenal show. They had some shakeups, obviously, with COVID, and then one of the actors, she did not want to take the get the vaccination.
Oh,
So
wow.
then they kind of like had to rewrite the whole, and she that was her belief, and she put her heels in on that.
Right.
So they had to restructure the show. It was a 4-person character-based show. So they had to rewrite the story for season 2. It's a fan favorite. Guess what? They haven't had an episode out in a year.
Oh, really?
At least.
Wow. Okay.
But because I love the storytelling, because I love the production, because I love the acting as an audience member of theirs, I have patiently, and they didn't have anything in between.
Are they still like doing promotions and trailers and marketing?
No.
So how are you staying hooked then? Because that really doesn't happen. I mean,
because it's got to be good content,
Okay.
right? That there has to be value in the content. So even though there wasn't, they just, they do the preseason promotion where, they start when they go on tour, their PR or their press tour. But prior to that, no, it's just if I wanted to see it again, it's on the streaming platform and I can go and binge watch it as much as I want to. I think it was maybe even 8 or 9 episodes.
Okay, so you went back and watched it again. That's what kept it.
No,
like, top
I could
of mind.
have.
You could have.
I didn't. But the story was good enough for me that when I knew they were coming back. Now, what they did do a good job of was communicating that we're coming back.
Okay, so it's communication. Because I was going to say,
communication is the genesis of everything.
Yeah, because I was going to say, if you remember, like, if there was nothing, you're like an anomaly because we forget like quick. Us humans forget quick. So the fact that you remember, but you said there was some communication.
But it was also just a really good product.
Of course. Yeah.
Right? Like it's a really good product. And I think that's where people spend as much time creating a quality product so that when you do introduce it to your audience, it's something that they love. I just had someone tell me yesterday in a business meeting, I was giving them some ideas on how, like the group, some ideas on how to get their products in front of people. And I said, one of the things that I do with our podcast is I have another business and I do product placement.
Right.
And one of the women was like, I absolutely love your podcast, you and your brother's podcast, because I can't watch it, but on my drive home, I listen to it in the car.
Who was that?
Anne Marie. Shout out to Anne Marie.
Listen to the podcast. Supporting us. Anne Marie.
Thank you, Anne Marie. She's amazing. But and so then everybody else was like, oh, I didn't even know you had a podcast. Where can I find it? And going to share that. So it's about creating quality also.
Yeah.
Don't just do the building and they will come and you think you got something nice, but have you taken the time to survey your audience or your community to even see what they want? And that's the difference between having an audience, because an audience might be present, but they may not be responsive.
Right.
A community member is going to be present and responsive.
Yeah. And I'm also of the popular opinion or unpopular opinion that you should spend money building your audience.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You should do some paid ads. You should invest in maybe doing a commercial or a placement or even paying to have you on someone else's podcast. Right?
If BMW is doing it, why are you not?
Right? Exactly. So spending money on your brand is important. I mean, I believe it takes money to make money, but it doesn't have to be your money. Right?
Correct.
So you can go out there and find people who are willing to invest in your vision, invest in your brand, and really ride the wave with you. But you have to know and you have to believe that having an audience is the key to your success.
Absolutely.
Because it is.
Yeah.
If not, you'll be like that hamster on that wheel running in circles and then you're going to get burnt out.
Yeah.
But then also having the people to support in that build. Like we just brought on a major support person.
Oh my gosh.
Miss Kaylina
I'm so happy.
Jenkins, right?
I'm so happy.
Right. So with her doing things for us, that frees us up to create more value for our audience.
Yeah.
Because if we're doing this and then we're setting up and then we're recording and we're building websites, if we're doing all this, I believe that takes away of what we can be put into giving our people more value, more nutrients, and really making them happy.
And the reality is we're experts, but we're not experts at everything.
Right.
So it makes sense to bring someone else in. Like when you're a solopreneur or even having a small team, you do those other things by default because it's you.
Yeah.
You have to do it. But I think it's, part of that audience building piece and then nurture, even taking it a step further with the community is having a person or a group of people in place that are really good at their thing.
Right.
And they enjoy what they
Right.
do. Like what, we'll share even with Kaylina, it wasn't just about bringing her on. It was identifying like, what are your core strengths and values, and what are your goals? What do you want to do? What's going to make this opportunity valuable for you? That gives a sense of ownership and freedom to then for her to step in and do her thing like we can't do it.
Right.
And that, like you said, on the back end, our community will experience the value of that because of how we've come together and structured it. So I think that's important as well.
So let's talk about some community building platforms.
Okay.
Like, what are some good platforms that a creator or a business owner, period, can go and create a community on?
Well, we'll know the usual suspects, Facebook. Right?
Facebook.
I have my pros and cons to that. We just had a conversation about it. Listen, I'm all for using whatever is free.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Leverage it, but leverage it with the understanding that there's going to be something that's required of you. There's also going to be something that you have to sacrifice or give up.
Right.
Right. So you can build a community on Facebook. And I've even heard, and you can probably speak to this better than I can, I've even heard of people selling their Facebook communities to people. Not really sure logistically or legally how that works, because essentially you own the community, but you don't own the platform that the community is built on. Right. And I'm surprised that Facebook hasn't done something that would kind of impede that so that they can increase their bottom line. But Facebook, you have now broadcast channels on Instagram, so you can create a subscription where only your subscribers can be a part of your broadcast channel and get that exclusive content. You have platforms like Patreon. You introduced our team to one recently. Circle, School. There are a lot.
There are a bunch of them.
There's a lot of them, and I think what it's really going to come down to again is, what are your needs?
Right.
Like, what are your goals? How do you really want to serve your community? And then what are the features? Oh my gosh, what's the other platform? It'll come back to me.
It's like school, and what's it like?
Gosh, we're actually using it for another project I'm working on. I can't even. It's a really common one. If it comes back to me, I'll share it.
Vimeo?
No. It's a membership platform. But we'll make sure we have it in the show notes.
Well, if you don't remember, we can't.
No, but they can still go and see. We can if we want. But anyway, it'll come to me. It's on the tip. I don't want to say it starts with an M, but anyway, there are other platforms and there's Discord. People use Discord. There was another one that I was looking at a couple years ago. So if you're part of your goal is to create an interactive experiences for your audience by going live or bringing them on live. Do you want to host master classes? Do you want to have guest experts come in? Do you want people to be able to easily access digital products that you create? All of those things you need to look at to determine which is going to be the best platform for you, but also in a way that streamlines your business and the work that you're doing, and not necessarily creating another whole business within a business that you have to do.
So we've learned a lot throughout our tenure as creators and entrepreneurs. And the beauty for me is that we've done a lot of the hard work, right? We've made a bunch of mistakes. And even though, when you're building an audience, you're going to make mistakes, right? It's going to happen, but we can help minimize those mistakes. And we have that in our special exclusive membership that you guys can join. And all it is that, we can only teach you so much in this podcast, right? We can only bring you to a certain level, but you're going to want to talk to us, email us, ask us questions. And that's how we built this membership, so you guys can come in and really open up, be inside our internal vault and figure out how we did certain things.
Yeah, right? And you're not fighting with the algorithm to have your voice heard. Yeah. So like you said, it's really important that, our community has a space where they can come in, share their thoughts, their ideas, ask questions, get support. And so we've been really intentional about creating that type of space for our community. You know, and it is a private community because we realize that the platforms will change. We've had several conversations around how Instagram had a feature and a lot of content creators were using it and they were benefited from it. And that's the Instagram Reels bonus program. And now it's gone. And so people that, you know, started relying on that as a main source of generating revenue through their...
Really? They were really?
Because some of them were making really good money.
Really? Okay. Didn't know that.
I mean, you know, they're the top performers that are just churning out content. Those were the ones that were really benefiting the most. So now you have this, it's not even a mass exodus. It's just Meta saying, nope, we shut it down. So if that became their primary leg that they were standing on, where are you going to go? That's why Instagram won't get my money for creating a broadcast channel or subscriptions, because one, they get part of it. And I get why, because I'm renting. Right. You know, it's like renting a room in a house. Yeah. But also, there's no reason that I would believe that you just say this business model, this product is no longer working for our business model. So we're going to take it away like we did the bonus program for Reels. So then what?
Our Instagram went down last week. This week, did they go down?
It was last week.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't experience it, but
so how does that work when you build an audience?
That's why you need an email list, because that's something that you own.
Right.
That's why you need an SMS list, something that you own.
Right.
You need to have your own website, something that you own. And the reality is all of those things depend upon technology.
Right.
And you don't own the technology, but you have ownership of the list. So, and we've heard countless people talk about this. Instagram or Facebook goes down, then how are you communicating with your community? Oh. You have to have these other, and that should be the priority before you create content for any of these platforms that you don't own. You should be creating content and communicating with your community on platforms that you do own or have ownership in.
Yeah. A podcast expert, David Shands, right? So he made a post a while back, and he said that if you're dependent on Facebook and Instagram for your audience, you have no audience. Right,
I would agree, 1,000%.
I was like, yeah, because those platforms can go down at any time.
And we've seen it countless times. People have literally spazzed out because they had a whole Black Friday campaign planned, and then Instagram went down for whatever reason. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I can't even roll out my Black Friday. Like I'm behind now. It messed up my whole. Well, you should have some other things in place that come even before Instagram. I'm not saying don't use them. We all use them. But you've got to be smarter about where you're spending your time, because you don't have a lot of time. We all have 24 hours. So it's, how am I going to maximize the time that I have to have the most impact?
And it's not even really about the platform going down. You can make a post that they don't like and they shut your whole account down.
Listen, can I tell you, I'm still like pissed off that I got, you know, some reels that get 2,000, 4,000, 5,000, 182,000 views and all this engagement. And now I'm barely hitting like 11 likes and maybe 3 comments.
That's because they want you to get that blue check mark.
They want me to get that blue check.
Get that blue check mark, girl.
Listen, I'm pissed.
Get that blue check
If you
mark.
listening Instagram, let me tell you why I'm pissed.
Get that blue check mark.
I have gone back and forth with you. Okay, you got the blue check, and we can talk about that real quick. But here's why I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
And I see what they're doing. I'm thoroughly convinced. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I am thoroughly convinced that Instagram is trying to force me to get that blue check. Here's why I have been fighting it. Of all the qualifications that are necessary to get a blue check before they rolled out the subscription,
you hit it.
I hit it. I have been published everywhere. Essence Magazine. I've been on the Tamron Hall show, CBS. You can go on Getty and see my pictures up there with Oprah and Sony Studios, and, you know, public figure. I meet all the qualifications, have all the documentation, and I upload it, and at least 3 to 4, I want to say 3 to 5 times. Each time they have denied me the blue check. And so then I started thinking, like, well, do I have to get to like 10,000 first before they give it to me? But I started seeing other people that they didn't have 10,000 and they were getting a blue check. And again, this was pre-subscription. So now on the rollout, y'all want me to put my government name? I'm not doing that. And you're not getting my money, at least not right now. I'm still very much.
Well, you should definitely do it.
I have had plenty of my colleagues say, you should do it. You're legit. Nobody's going to question it.
It's going to boost everything about you. I mean, it brings so much more value to what you already created. But
why? Isn't the value that I created enough?
For you it is, but for the audience, people who are coming to look, it has nothing to do with Instagram. It's the people who are coming to look at you, and that's instant authority, right? Every
for those of you who are listening, you can't see my face,
right? So before my blue check mark, right? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't really get too many comments off platform on my Instagram, but now people admit, oh, you got a blue check mark. Hey, the blue check mark. See, the blue check mark is, for me, it's a symbol of authority, and it gives you more clout, right? And with more authority, more clout, you make more money, right?
So what you're saying is me having governmental proclamations from mayors spanning from California to Ohio, being featured on national media,
right,
being a #1 best-selling author, being a 2-time award-winning, well, not even 2-time, a multi-award-winning TV film producer, director, brand strat, like none of that lends to my credibility and authority. Like the blue check is going to make the difference.
If no one's in a jungle and a tree falls, can you hear it? Can you hear it? Doesn't make noise. It makes yes, it does. But you're not. If you were there in the jungle, you would hear the tree fall, right? Mm-hmm. So even though you have all these accolades, right, and they're respectful, and they're far more than what anybody would do in their lifetime, right? The fact that you have that blue check mark will bring people into your Instagram, into your ecosystem to see all the accolades. People are still going, but you'll get more eyeballs on your profile to see all that with that check mark. So now the accolades are just sitting there with really only your community knowing what you've done and accomplishments. But that check mark brings more people in because they see that authority, all right? So if a tree falls in a jungle, if no one's there, it doesn't make noise.
Okay, so we're going to introduce a new segment to each episode called Talk to Us. Okay? Talk back.
What is that? Talk to me.
Because I want to hear from our audience about what their thoughts are.
But do you understand what I'm saying to you, though?
No, I get it. I get it. It's not that I'm I work hard. We work hard, right? You're also an award-winning filmmaker. You never even talk about that. You've had projects screened at film festivals and won awards, and you don't talk about that. And I think it's just a very thin and can be a dangerous line that we create when we start telling people that their best isn't good enough. And in order to be considered more valuable, you have to buy into something.
It's not that it's not good enough. Is that I want more people to see my best. I want you to come and see everything that I've done, right? And then that check mark for me brings more people into my business so they can see everything that I've done versus just working so hard, hoping they will come see it, hoping that they, maybe one day, someone will come in and see the podcast or see this post. So for me, that check mark brings more eyeballs to what I've done, and that really makes me not work as hard. For me, I'm working more smarter. Right.
Okay.
That's my take on it.
I know nobody is going to agree with me on this. So remember when Elon Musk took over Twitter?
Yeah.
And he started talking about, that's the thing with Instagram is they don't have their own identity.
True.
They often look at what other platforms are doing and then they try to replicate it. That's why we have Instagram Reels, because they saw what Snapchat was doing and tried to do that, implement that on their platform when they were first a photography first platform. But there were a lot of people, public figures, who was like, listen, if y'all make me pay for this blue check on Twitter, I'm out. LeBron James was one of them. Now, I know
Really?
I don't have LeBron James status, right? But again, my thing is like, okay, you have people who already have that level of brand awareness and they have a community. They got writers, whatever. And they're even like, why should I have to pay for something that was previously available to me? And it was based on the merit was based on my value was based on the things that I've done.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me that I need to pay for it.
Right.
So I think that there should be a combination of the two. And I don't know if they completely did away with the old version of how to get verified on Instagram, or if it's just now everybody, if you weren't verified before, you
have to qualify for it still. I mean, anybody just can't get a blue check mark. So there's still some criteria, but
the main one being, I got to give y'all my government name, and I'm not about to do that.
Her government name is
K Jones.
Yeah. So there are some restrictions, but I mean, in the long run, I believe it's worth it. I mean, for me, it's like more organic marketing versus paid marketing. And I believe the check mark
that would fall under the paid marketing.
Yeah,
I'm with you on all the paid marketing. I definitely believe in it, but I'll sit with it and we'll see.
Of course. Next episode, you guys check. She gonna have a check mark next to her to her name, but
only if he buys it.
Yeah. No. What else on brand building?
Man, we could go on and on about this. This is
audience,
like, audience building. But I want people to really, again, get back to, it's not just about building the audience. Yeah. It's about what you do with that audience once you build it. Right. And we've given some, tactical strategies on how you can do that, whether that's email marketing, SMS marketing, creating a private, Facebook group, or being on some other platform, but it's all going to go back to thinking like a media brand. So when you're creating content, when you're creating experiences, stop thinking about yourself and your brand. And I know that sounds agnostic to what we've been taught or what we should believe. But I believe that if you're building right, if you're telling stories the right way, if you're building connection, creating value, people will ultimately get to know who you are and what you do. Right. I remember a friend of mine, a good friend of mine that I used to work with at the ad agency, when I moved here, he was telling me about a book by Gary Vee. Was it Jab, Left Hook? Yeah, right, that one, right? And at the time, Gary Vee had a TV show like a digital TV show that he was doing called like the Wine Library or something like that. Yeah. But no one knew, like, he was just talking about wine, and it was targeted to wine lovers. And so the content was speaking to them and the experiences. It wasn't necessarily about him saying, like, my family owns a winery and, we do this and we do that. And even with him having his media agency, there was a period in time where his content wasn't speaking to the fact that he owns a media agency that employs thousands of people. Right. It was about delivering value to the audience. And in order to know if something that you create is valuable, you've got to connect with the people that you want to have in your audience and in your community. Yeah. So again, it's going to always, for me, go back to thinking like a media brand. Right. Most media brands are not creating content that's centered around the media brand that they have. I'm also a managing editor, deputy executive producer for a digital magazine that's launching. I'm not on here talking about what I do. We're more focused on the stories that speak to the targeted audience for that magazine. That's what's going to draw them in. They don't care nothing about what I've done. It's about what am I creating for them. So if you don't walk away from this episode with anything, it would be to make sure, don't have the building and they will come mentality.
Don't have that.
Don't have that, but focus on how can I provide value. Develop a schedule for your content, because we don't want people out here burnt out. It is okay to take a break, but have the strategy in place that says, okay, when I'm not, for us, when I'm not producing the podcast, or when we're not distributing podcast episodes, we still have enough content that we can chop up the episodes that we have into smaller content pieces that will still serve our community and allow us the opportunity to focus on other things that are going to continue to provide value for the community.
Amen to that. So I'm complete. Close us out.
You that's your thing. That I feel like we on Clubhouse when people used to finish talking and say, "I'm complete.
I'm complete.
I'm done talking." Listen, we love coming here every week and spending time with you all, whether you are listening on your favorite podcast platform or you're watching on our YouTube channel, the Born to Create podcast channel. We appreciate you being here, showing up, sending, questions, engaging with our social media content, letting us know that you are actually enjoying these conversations. We are not here just to talk to each other. We show up with intention to make sure that we are delivering value to our audience and our community. So we always want to hear from you. If you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure that you rate it and comment on it. Give us your thoughts. We are reading, we are watching. And if you're on the YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe. And whatever platform you're consuming this content, make sure that you share it with your tribe and your community. As always, you were born to create, so don't allow anyone to put you in a box. You don't belong there, and neither do we. This is your co-host, KL Jones, signing off for another episode of Born to Create with my brother.
That was good. I need to take some lessons from you as far as intros and outros, because that was pretty fire.
Thank you. Well, in all fairness, I have been on air talent, so it just, lots of training.
All right,
and
guys.
I never know what I'm going to say.
Right. Like that was scripted. That was she got notes right there.
Never. I can't even do scripted half the time.
All right. Well, we're done. All right, guys. See you guys next episode. Have fun. Be safe. Love you guys. Bye.
Peace.